Hey guys, this is a this is gonna be a quick follow-up video to the 2013 Ram 1500 misfire video I did, I don't know, a couple weeks back. I'll put a link in the description. This was a misfire under load. I believe it came up with cylinder 4 and 6 on mode 6 data. Relative compression test with a pulse sensor and ignition sync showed low contribution cylinder 8, and it looked, I won't say it looked like it showed that there was combustion or cylinder pressure was leaking back into the intake. Therefore, we condemned a non-seating intake valve. Right, that's the update. Watch the video. If you already watched it, you'll know what I'm talking about. Customer's concern was he wanted to try to fix it as cheap as possible. Don't we all? The idea being to take the head off, possibly send the head out, just have the valve fixed, put the one head back on, just so he can use it a little while longer. He's waiting for a replacement vehicle to come in. I decided, alright, well, I don't have an in-cylinder pressure transducer. It is on my wish list. I don't have it, which would have helped, but here's the snafu. If I would have put an in-cylinder number 8, I wouldn't have gotten the answer that I truly needed. What I did was took the valve cover off and simply cranked it over. Had somebody crank it over while I watched it. I wanted to see rocker arm movement. I'll insert the video here. Okay. Whoop, there goes the oil. Okay. And as you can see, the intake valve on number 6, exhaust valve on number 4 showed minimal movement, which tells me that there is a collapsed lifter and or bad camshaft, which these things are notorious for. And that's where we stopped, because at that point we're not just pulling ahead. This thing needs the whole upper end. And like I said, it's got miles on it. It's got 150 something on it. So we're going to stop here until the customer decides what it is he wants to do. I guess the question is, this is a real question, not just a trick question, because I don't really know the answer, is I don't know why number 4 and 6 did not show low contribution on a relative compression test, which would have led me to further check those two cylinders along with cylinder 8. I'm curious if we can get Brandon Steckler's opinion on this. I'm sure Mario will probably have some good input along with a few other people. So I'm a little, I guess I'm curious why the relative compression test didn't show us what we needed to see to point this in the direction of those two cylinders. Obviously it's not a question of they were sealing, just they were never opening. But it should still show, I'm not sure if it would show up in a relative compression test, right? It would definitely would have shown up in an in-cylinder, but I had nothing to point me to those two cylinders other than mode 6 data. So I guess if I had an in-cylinder, maybe I would have just done the whole side and seen it. I'm not quite sure. But nonetheless, we know it's an internal issue. We know it's a bad either cam and or lifter issue, and we're going to stop here. I just wanted to do a follow-up and bring you guys along. And for nothing else, to show you inside this cylinder head, this is definitely not for a lack of maintenance. If I can mess with this camera a little bit and get in here, this has got to be the cleanest 150,000 mile engine, one of the cleanest I've ever seen. There isn't a spot of crud in here anywhere. This guy definitely not for lack of oil changes. This guy kept on top of it. There's no better evidence than that, right? So, whoop, see if I can come back. Where'd I go? I'm over here somewhere. I'm gonna fuss with this camera. I'm gonna bounce it around. There I am. I'm over here again. So that's it. I just wanted to follow up. I thought it was interesting, and I'm curious. So, let me know what you think. Leave a comment. Say hello. Subscribe. Ring the bell. Hope everybody's doing well. I gotta put this valve cover back on and kick this thing out the door until he decides what he wants to do. Hope everybody's well. Hope everybody's okay. Peace.